Donald Trump is making a political comeback, and it's frankly brilliant. Hello, welcome to Dangerous Policy, a channel aimed at intelligent people wanting to discuss important issues facing life and society. My name is Crispin, and today I will talk about the latest political development in the life and times of Donald J. Trump. It has often been thought that Trump will run for presidential re-election in 2024, roughly the same age as Joe Biden was when he took office. So there's been a big question and mark about whether or not he will still have the vigor and presence of mind to be able to run a presidential campaign. But certainly to date, there is no question that Donald Trump is the most, sort of aggressive political animal of anyone of his age in living memory. But there's been a new development in this saga, which brings the timetable forward. In February, Steve Bannon, his former advisor friend, floated the idea that Donald Trump run for office in Congress in the midterms in 2022. And that was just a thought bubble. No one really took it seriously until the other day, where Donald Trump talked about it himself in an interview.
I've got a strategy for you, okay? And I think it's a smart strategy. I want to get your reaction. Why not, instead of just waiting for 2024, and I'm hoping you run in 2024, but why not run in 2022 for the United States Congress, a House seat in Florida, win big, lead us to a dramatic landslide victory, taking the House by 50 seats, and then you become the Speaker of the House, lead the impeachment of Biden, and start criminal investigations against Biden. You'll wipe him out for his last 2 years, and then you'll be president. Do it.
It's very interesting.
You'll be a folk hero. You'll be a folk hero.
And people have said, run for the Senate. Okay, run for the Senate. But you know what? Your idea might be better. It's very interesting.
You'll be the Speaker of the House. I'm telling you, Speaker of the House.
Yeah, that's funny. That's very funny.
Perfect for you. You'll open up criminal investigations against Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. It'll be the most fantastic thing any one of us has ever imagined.
Well, it is a shame.
The idea would be that Donald Trump would run for the House of Representatives for a seat in Florida. And then if the Republicans were to take the House, he would become Speaker, replacing Nancy Pelosi. And I can't fault the logic of this. Every 2 years, the House of Representatives goes through a full election. It's one of the shortest election cycles in the world. It puts the House of Reps on a permanent kind of election foundation footing, where they're seeking donors for their next campaign as soon as they get elected. It's a really bad structure in my view. And then every 2 years, 1/3 of the US Senate comes up for re-election, because each senator serves 6 years. Every 4 years, there is also a US presidential election. And of course, the turnouts for the presidential years are vastly higher than the 1-2 years later, because you show up, you will vote for, in the last election, either Donald Trump or Joe Biden, but at the same time, you'll also vote for all of the House and Senate representatives. Well, in the midterms, it's only the committed voters that turn out. So if Donald Trump, halfway through Joe Biden's first term, chooses to run for office in Congress, well, that will massively lift the Republican turnout nationwide. We will see a huge red wave come through. 50 or more Republican House of Representative members could be elected just because Donald Trump decides to run in Florida, flooding the Congress with new Republicans, very likely to take the House and the Senate. Donald Trump could be the Speaker, and that certainly doesn't prevent Trump from running in 2024, but gives him a massive platform in which to raise a campaign war chest for the next presidential election. And he may decide that he prefers to be Speaker and doesn't want to be president anymore, and therefore he could be kingmaker for the next nominee. And we've already seen the types of Trump-like figures that are coming through the ranks of the Republican Party, who will be running for presidential election in the next campaign. Most at the top of that list at the moment will be Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, who famously has resisted any form of lockdown for the COVID restrictions, has become an icon among Trump Republicans who support his views on curriculum in schools, patriotic education, protecting women's sports, all kinds of things that are very dear to the hearts of American conservatives, and has himself associated very strongly with President Trump as close personal friends and support. Other figures, Tom Cotton, the senator, he is a arch kind of conservative, lacks some of the personal charisma of the governor, but has a much more long-standing sort of sense of Trump support. Josh Hawley, the guy who's been taking on big tech in the United States, the one who's also been taking China to task, huge base of support among Trump Republicans, particularly since he's also a regular guest on Tucker Carlson. So there is a whole Trump movement which I think has solidly entrenched itself within the GOP. And we've also seen that with the removal of Liz Cheney, a strong Trump critic, daughter of Dick Cheney, from positions of leadership within the GOP at the hands of Trump supporters. So I think that the Trump takeover of the Republican Party is now officially complete. It hasn't just lasted the one term of his office. People continue to go and visit him at Mar-a-Lago. He's still kind of the grandfather puppeteering the party behind the scenes. And it is highly probable that he will make a political return next year. And it's a perfect time for him to do so. The presidency of Joe Biden has not been successful. Let's be candid about this. President Trump made all kinds of peace deals in the Middle East. This seems to be a distant memory now with the conflict erupting between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Joe Biden hasn't really been able to do anything about it. You've got Joe Biden supporting the Nord Stream pipeline with the Russians after criticizing Trump for resisting it. We've got absolutely lukewarm jobs figures continue to come out in the United States. The recovery is not impressive, and Americans are really feeling the pain of the COVID restrictions. The vaccine rollouts have largely been attributed to President Trump's efforts. A lot of his kind of legacy is starting to come out. Dr. Fauci has been greatly discredited with the release of his emails. There is a greater sense of awareness of what happened with Hunter Biden and the corruption of the Biden family. So Biden is starting to emerge as a kind of a Jimmy Carter-like figure without the personal honesty aspect. If we think of the 1970s, there was economic problems, there was foreign policy problems. Jimmy Carter seemed like a completely ineffectual leader to do anything about it. He seemed to be kind of pushed aside by those in his own administration, much like Joe Biden. But at least Jimmy Carter was someone that people liked. He was someone that people kind of said, oh yes, he's an honest guy, decent man. Whereas Joe Biden is looking like the ultimate political insider who's been there for 50 years and has not been able to affect positive change for the American people. So this could all change. This is early in Joe Biden's presidency. A lot can happen. There haven't been great major new crises other than the Israeli-Palestinian one, which Joe Biden has failed miserably. But there are other things that will happen between now and 2022 that could change his political fortunes. But if it continues to drift in this way, then it's going to be ripe for people to vote for Trump. And the massive vilification and prejudice from Silicon Valley tech giants is only helping Trump at this point. Facebook, Twitter, these organizations, YouTube that are prejudicing against Trump and his supporters, well, that's creating a great swell of resentment among ordinary Americans who are seeing these coastal elites for exactly what they are. But also the thing that Trump voters tended to dislike the most about the president, i.e. his tweets, are the things that are being kept silent. So they're reminded of all the things they liked about the president, his pro-America kind of speeches, his job focus, his American power focus, his patriotism, his really talking America up, his great fan of American culture and life. And the things they dislike about him, his vulgarity, his petulance, his personal ego, these things have been silenced. So in a way, the American tech giants have done their utmost to help Donald Trump's political revival by in many ways saving Trump from himself. And thus, it is without question that if he runs for office in 2022, midterm election, only the politically committed turning out to vote, not seeking to oust him from power, it will create a huge Republican turnout that will take the House and the Senate. He will become Speaker of the House, and thus will be in a kingmaker position for the president. He's already, joked about opening impeachment proceedings against Joe Biden, sort of getting his political revenge on those that thwarted him for so long. But more importantly, it will place him at the apex of the most powerful legislative branch of the US government, i.e. the Congress. He'll be able to pass all kinds of new legislation. He'll be able to introduce those tax cuts and infrastructure bills and things like that he was always thwarted on as president. And he can either seek to launch his campaign as president himself in 2024 or seek to make his favored successor do so instead. We could even find someone named Donald Trump as both Speaker of the House and President of the United States if his son decided to run for presidency. It could have those two individuals there at the same time. Now, that would be an extraordinary political dynasty if I've ever seen one. But yes, I just thought I'd update everybody on that. Watch out for the midterms. It is going to be the most lively in recent memory, and that will be as soon as next year. So keep that in mind. If you found value in this discussion, if you didn't know about this, please like and subscribe. We talk about this all the time. We do cover US politics, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much.